I am Monica. I started to have a big interest in security, and you can write me if you have questions, more questions after this presentation, or if you want to implement something regarding security in your own company. Visma started to see that security is very important, that criminals are starting to hack financial systems and to get a lot of money from, for example, from payments. When in the moment you start to pay things, so you have integration between your ERP and the bank, hackers can take advantage of this and can take a lot of money from your customers. And in such moments, probably your company will be dead. So the program that Visma created is split in 3 groups. The first group is governance. In this part, we start to get awareness in the company and especially in the management system, because management needs to approve the time that the teams use to implement these security systems. And it's very important to train also the developers. And for that, we started to create a training program. And each developer is invited to participate to such a program. Visma has one team, central team, that it's like a consultant team for security things. And it has at least 300 development teams that are integrated with this program. In order to help people and teams to learn about their own security, we created a self-assessment for security and risk. And it's in fact a list with questions that each team is responsible to answer. In the moment the teams notice that they have an issue, they forgot about something, they will create a task and they are responsible to resolve that task as soon as possible. Based on the program, we created our own software, which we intend to make it open source, which calculates a maturity index, which is more like a game. It means that you have different levels, like gold and platinum and so on, and you need to win a lot of points to go from one level to the other. You win points if you solve your task and your issues that we found for you. And also you lose points if we notice, for example, that you have tasks that you didn't fix in a period of time. It's important for each team to have a target. So if, for example, you are a team that make payments to the bank, you need to have the highest level. But if, for example, you are a team that doesn't have yet customers, you are in the beginning, it's probably enough to be on silver. And in the moment that you become higher and more important, you need to raise your target also. The second group in our program is how we define processes and procedures. It's very important to know which teams are responsible for the security and what they have to do. So our process is about incidents, and it's formed in 4 stages. The first stage is to create the responsible team that will act in case you have an incident. An incident means, for example, if somebody is hacking your system. They also need to assure that all the environment for that application is secure enough to make sure that, for example, nobody can attack you. And third thing, they need also to provide a method on how the responsible team will interact in case a hacking appears. In the second phase, we detect the incident and we validate that it's really an incident. The central team has an on-call people all the time, and if the incident was high priority, for example, the responsible team is called, and they have to assure that they stop the hacking. On the third phase, the most important thing is to ensure that you keep the evidence safe. You need to make sure that your evidence are not modified by anybody. Because if you want to catch the criminal that try to hack your system, you need proofs to provide them to the officials. We had a case, and we were hacked, and we managed to keep the evidence safe. And after that, together with another company that it's a partner of us, we managed to find the hacker, and now he's arrested. So it's very important to keep the evidence safe. Then we have to minimize what the hacker tried to do on your system. It's possible that, for example, you need to shut down some servers, or you need to shut down the whole platform, depending on how big the attack is. And then you have to find a method to stop this incident. In the end, you need to recover from the incident. Probably you need to open again the server that you stopped, or who knows, maybe you need to make a script to solve the things. It's possible in some cases that you will never recover some of your data that it was lost during the hack. In the fourth phase, the responsible team needs to create a report on what happened and why it happened, and he had to make a list of actions for future to be sure that it will never happen again. I was telling you about two teams. One is the central team that takes care of all the security issues, and the second one is the responsible team. The central team is responsible to bring knowledge and news in the teams, and it's also a support for the teams in case of incidents, because they have the biggest knowledge about the security. They work together with the responsible teams to find out what happened during the attack. They work really close together, and they find out how the customer were impacted and how long they were impacted, because you have the responsibility to announce your customer if something like this happened. For example, in my case, I paid to a site in US, and after 3 months I received an email that my credit card could be affected. So it's very important to tell your customer if something goes wrong. And it's very important for you to be transparent with the world, because security is very active in this period of time, and the world, the companies should know about this. They should be aware that hacking is very dangerous and it happens all the time. There are sites, if you want to look, to see how many hacks are each day, and there are millions per day. And depending on the country you are, it's more often or less often. But since in Romania, we are very focused on IT, we have a lot of hacking. And a lot of hackers also. The responsible team is, they have to collect and create actions based on what hacker happens, and they need to be sure that the action they took get fixed in a very fast time. So it's very important to have such teams. Why we have a central team and not security members in each team is because it's very difficult to find security people in the world. It's said that there are approximately 300,000 hackers in the world, and you can imagine that they can be very expensive to hire. And if you have 300 teams in your company, it will probably cost you a fortune to have so many hackers. Regarding the capabilities, these are different tools or systems that we get in our environment, and we use them to make sure that from our point of view, we try the best to ensure the security of our environment. Each company should decide the order of such tools, and it should be somehow natural for them to implement it. You will see that Visma didn't start it with the order that I will present here, because we had some colleagues that were very passionate by security, so the most natural thing was to create a penetration testing team. So for us, this was the first step that we did. But of course, for them was difficult because they found a lot of errors and issues on security, and they need a lot of time to, let's say, try to hack each of the environment, because it was too easy, and then you need to go again to them when you improve some things, and it was very difficult for them. So it was suggested that we implement different tools. And the first one that we implement after that was the static application security testing. For this, we are using Coverity, but there are, of course, other tools like Czech Mars. And this is a white box testing, and it can be automated in your pipeline, in your continuous development pipeline. And it's, in fact, it's used for a lot of programming language. And what it does, it takes your source code, it's verifying what programming language is, and it creates a model over that language, and then it's searching for patterns. And when it finds a pattern, it creates an issue, and in the end it gives you a very detailed report, including showing which line in your code is affected and how can you change it. Of course, for the developers, it's a little bit difficult to know what this means. So that's why we take, for example, the most cases of the same type, and we try to present the developers why they are important and how to fix them. This tool, like I said, it takes your source code, and the duration of running, it can be from minutes if you are working with microservices. But for example, we have the biggest ERP in Visma. It has more than 5 million lines of code, and that one, it takes like 150 hours. So you can run that only like 3 times per month if you have only one agent. When you are looking for a tool, like we decided to use Coverity, it's very important to try it and to see how many false positives it gives, because this is the bad part of such a SaaS. And we noticed there are tools that gives like 10-20% false positives, and this is a good tool. But we found a lot that gives more than 50% false positive, and then this one shouldn't be taken consideration or should be used together with another tool. We also implemented third-party libraries vulnerability, or SCA. And for this, we are using Protecode and also Retire.js, because Protecode doesn't have support for JavaScript. And what these tools are doing, they are, again, taking your source code, and they are looking what assemblies you have, what third-party vulnerabilities you have in your system. It gives you a report. They found usually like 260 libraries in one system, and they show you if, for example, you use multiple versions of the same assembly, or if the assembly is outdated, or if there are known issues on that assembly. It also show you if you are compliant with the legal licenses. So it's very good also to check your licenses. As I told you before, we also have a team which is staying in Lithuania, which are very good hackers, and they are trying to find issues in each of our application. They are very good. They are doing black box testing, and in order to use their mind, you need to create them different accounts in your system with different levels of permissions, and they are trying to see, for example, authentications, if they are working, if they can take data outside of your application, or if they can make SQL injections or different type of issues that are known. The problem with such manual testing is the fact that, as I told you, we have 300 teams and there are only one. So the waiting time for them, it's like 2 weeks. So if you need testing, you have to schedule them with at least 2 weeks before you need the testing to be done. And they will create cases for you, tasks, and if you do not fix the task in a small period of time, depending on how critical it is, you lose points from the maturity index, and this is very critical for your maturity index. I think it's one of the biggest. And in the end, you will understand why. Another tool that we are working with is Recorded Future, which does cyber threat intelligence. What this tool is doing, they are looking in dark web and also in applications like Twitter or Facebook, or in I don't know what other chat tools, and they are looking for your name, like for Visma or for applications from Visma, like let's say TripleText or AutoPay or Visma Net ERP. And if they find somebody discussing about your application, they are looking on to see what they are discussing. Maybe somebody is planning to attack you, or maybe somebody found your password somewhere, or things like this. And based on such information, you can protect your system. I think the biggest help they gave us is to catch the criminal that tried to hack us. But it was also helping one of our customers, because they found out that a customer of us was hacked. Somebody put a spying tool on his PC, and they found all his users and passwords, and they make them public. And because of that, also our password was in the list. And they announced us, so we went to our customer and told him, take care, you were hacked, your 2FA was not enabled. So now everybody who is on such a site can go on your private accounts in Gmail, for example, or in our own system. And they also tried to enter our application, but unfortunately they just looked to see what's inside. So he was not interested in financial data. But anyhow, it was good that we help our customer to change his password and activate 2FAs everywhere it was possible. Another situation where they help us was they are searching for subdomains. Like if we have a domain Visma Net, they found a subdomain like blah blah blah.vismanet. And this can be used, for example, if somebody is trying to do phishing on our customers. The site was empty, was not activated, but still the intent was there, because they also created a valid certificate for that subdomain. So it's possible that that subsite can be used for hacking. We discover who created, and we also banned it so that it cannot be used anymore. And it the person that created that site recognized that yes, he wanted to hack our system through our customers. So a lot of such information can be found from cyber threat intelligence. There are a lot of big companies and institutions that are using this, like CIA, for example, are using such a system to find information. So why should we use hackers? Well, a lot of people are afraid of hackers. And in fact, they shouldn't be afraid, because in the world, they say that there are black hat hackers and white hackers. In reality, there are only hackers and criminals. If a hacker finds something wrong in a system, he doesn't find it specially to make something wrong or to win money. If somebody is using something that hackers found to win money, in fact, is a criminal, is not a hacker. And if you are really looking in the hacker world, you'll find that they are really nice people and they are just curious. So it's really nice to work with them. And when you are saying that you are working with white hackers, I just call them hackers because for me that's the only real thing. It means they are trying to help you. Of course, if you pay them, probably you motivate them to try to hack your system, but that's for your own good. It's not for their own good. Of course, they will get some money, but they don't want to do bad things. So because of this, we implemented 2 programs. One is responsible disclosure and one is bug bounty. On the responsible disclosure, you can use a tool, but we decided to create a page on our own website. And this page is just telling you can hack our system, only this part of our systems. And depending on what you found, you can get a prize or you can get money. There are a lot of money spent on this program because we had, for example, 2 or 3 cases where the people that were in this program won like 5,000 euros because they found something very, very, very critical. If the issue they discovered is not so important, for example, it's very, very slow impact, then they receive, for example, a short, or they just get their picture put on a wall of fame, and they start to become more and more known, because this is also important for them. If they become known, other companies will invite them to hack the system. On the bug bounty is a little bit more serious, because there are 2 programs. One is private and one is public. We just started this year, so we are still on the private program, and this means that we invite some hackers. We started with 30 hackers, and we want by the end of the year to have 100 hackers. And this means that the invited hackers can win between 100 euros and 3,000 euros on each case they found. But they need to do a good report, and they need to prove that what they found can be utilized to hack our system. So they need to show also the proof. After that, we analyze the report that we gave from them, and like on Uber, we have to say the rating for that hacker. And that's why it's more important for them to be serious, because they receive a rating. Also on this program, we already spent like 8,000 or 9,000 euros this year. Thank you.